Clevatess episode 2 now out, so let's talk about it.
テレビアニメ「クレバテス魔獣の王と赤子と屍の勇者」7月より放送開始
So the second episode of Clevatess is now available for you guys to go and watch right now. Episode 1 I thought was fantastic. I really loved it. I was on board. I'm loving what they were doing with the character of Clevatess, you know, and how he was going to go in and shape humanity. And then obviously the cliffhanger ending is they've been captured. What's going to happen next? So that's where we pick up in this episode. And yeah, this episode, it's dark. It shows you this world. This world is not a great world. It's not. And in this episode, Clevatess is seeing the absolute worst of humanity at this point. Because obviously the bandits have taken them. And he's like to the hero, so tell me about these bandits. Are they strong? Like, what's the go with this? And then she basically says, look, they're scum. They're some of the worst people, man, you know? But this is where we get a tragic backstory already. Like, episode 2, man. And they come in and give you this tragic backstory to this young woman who has been captive there ever since she was a kid. And this backstory just, oh, man, it's emotional. It truly is. So there's this character in there and she's able to breastfeed. So she starts breastfeeding Luna. And Clevatess is like, okay, this is interesting. But what we find out is that the bandits, obviously, they do horrible things. You know, this is nothing new. Like, this is nothing that we haven't seen in society before. Like, this still happens today and stuff like that. It's crazy, but it does. So she's carrying alcohol, she gets tripped over and smashes it. So then the bandits take her and they're like, time to punish you and stuff, you know. And then they've got her bent over, they're slapping her, you know. They do horrible things. I don't need to go into details. You guys know. You don't actually see them do that, but it's implied multiple times that it happens. It's what's to be expected. That's how dark this world is. But when Clevatess is there, Clevatess like kills the 2 bandits that do this to her. Like, absolutely just straight up murders. And I'm like, yo, I'm on Clevatess. You know, I'm on his side, man. So he starts talking to her. He's like, look, while you're breastfeeding Luna, just tell me a little bit about you and stuff like that. I want to know more. Because obviously Clevatess doesn't know how humanity works, right? So he's trying to understand humans, whether or not he should save them, kill them, what should he do? But then the story is, her and her mother, they were with the bandits. The mother was brutally, you know, taken against her own will, beaten, everything, assaulted in every shape, way and form. And she would watch. She would see that from the shadows and that. And then the mother just disappeared one day. She doesn't know whether she ran away or died. And once that happened, they started to beat her up as a child. And this is where she says, look, man, I was beaten. And I finally realized my mother was protecting me this whole entire time. And they beat this little girl. They shattered almost all her teeth out of her mouth, destroyed one of her ears so she can only hear out of one. And then that's not even the worst thing that happened. Like, obviously they were doing things to her and everything like that. Then we find out that she started to lose the will to live. But she had a kid. But unfortunately, it was a stillborn. And anyone that's known someone or had that experience, it's not a pleasant one. And my heart goes out to you guys because it is not a great feeling. I couldn't imagine it. But that's what happens. And then this kid, like a 6-month-old kid or something like that, she found and was breastfeeding. And this is where she felt like, I have a sense of purpose now to save these kids and stuff like that because I can do that. But it didn't stop there. She had more stillborns. She had like 2 more. And her whole motivation changed from, I want to die, to, I need to save these kids because my kids never got the life. And I need to keep these kids alive. So it's this very tragic backstory to this character who has gone through the absolute worst, experienced the worst, and still somehow come out with a positive mindset of, I'm going to save these kids because I couldn't save mine and I'm going to save them. Like, it's just amazing writing, character story and everything. And this is where Clevatess is like, well, I'm going to hire you as my wet nurse for Luna because Luna loves you and you can do this job for me. And, you know, I don't like humanity. I've seen the worst of them already here, but I'm not going to reject you because there's nothing for me to reject. And I love that about this character of Clevatess, where he is now seeing the worst of humanity, but also seeing the best as humanity. And I love that contrast of him understanding that. So not every human is evil. And I love that. I really, really do. So he's got his own stuff that's going on there because he's like, come with me. We can get through this and that. But obviously she's like, no, I can't because I need to save the next kid that comes and stuff like that, which is very valiant of her. But obviously she's going through a lot. She's not in the right headspace. And then you have the hero. And this is where we get more information about the swords and everything and how the bandits, they want the swords and that. So they're like, well, we're going to take you. You're going to take us to where your swords are and everything. But you guys can go have a little bit of fun with her and stuff. And this is where we find out that there was actually a hero who fought these creatures, these beasts here. And the sword is at the bottom of this pit. So now the hero is there on the bridge. And they're like, cool. This one guy who's like blind and crazy is like, haha, I'm going to have my fun with you and stuff like that. I'm going to rip you all your clothes off so everyone can see you first and that. It's crazy. They're like crazy, these bandits. They send a guy down there who gets absolutely shredded by these beasts. And she's like, the hero's like, okay, so that's what this beast is. But as this is happening and that, she's like, you know what? I'm going to trust him. I'm going to trust Klein and that the curse is real, that I'm immortal. I'm going to trust it. So she dislocates her shoulder, absolutely bodies this guy, and then cuts the bridge, and they both fall to their death. And they're watching, they're like, what the fudge is this? And then you get the image of her slammed on the ground. Body is crazy. There's blood and everything like that, and it ends like that. Obviously, she's going to come back alive because she has that curse. She is going to be immortal, and it's going to be freaking crazy, but this episode was dark, man. It really tackled the worst possible ways that humans can be. But again, it's the character development that I'm absolutely loving. Just the way that Clevatess is coming as a character already is great. Because I've always loved like a character who's like, humans are attacking me, they're invading my lands, they're parasites, let me go kill them all. And then something changed where they're like, you know what? Let me go study them a little bit more, go into depth to them and see what they're all about to make my before I make my judgment. And he's seeing that now. So next week's episode is going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait to see what he's going to do because the way that he took care of those two bandits was insane. Just like basically took them into the shadows. It was freaking awesome. But again, if they're going to give us one character in episode 2 already with this tragic backstory and that's well written as a character, what are we in for, man? What are we in for the rest of the characters in that? And I just think this is going to be fantastic. So let me know what you guys thought of episode 2. Maybe you didn't like it. Maybe you did. I want to know your thoughts. Smash it down in the comment section below. Smash that like button for me. Click subscribe and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.